Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's press conference. We'll run today in three sections: a broadcast section, a Sunday section, and then a section for the Mondays. Let's find Carve to get us going. Coming to you now, Carve.
Hi Frank.
Hi, hello.
First of all, I just wanted to ask you some injury news. Have Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi been training, and is there any chance of them being back in time for this game?
It's their first day back with the group today, training at a decent level, so I'll have to see how they are the next 2 or 3 days to see if they make West Ham.
Are there any other injury updates at all?
No.
Okay. Obviously, yesterday it was decided that there weren't going to be five subs going forward. How much of a blow was that to you and your players, as far as you're concerned?
Well, I don't want to talk about it in terms of being a blow. It's just when we spoke about it as managers, the overriding factor from the managers, whether they were maybe for or against, because I think there were different factors to this, was that this is a case of player welfare and making sure that we're looking after the players and giving them the best opportunity to perform at an optimum level and not putting them at risk as such because of the uncertain times and the schedule. And that schedule gets tougher because, for instance, we play 2 games in 2 days over Christmas. So I think it would have been really beneficial for player welfare. Normally I think the modern day player welfare, employee welfare comes out on top. I don't think it quite has this time. But the decision's made and we just carry on.
Just turning to the game against West Ham, obviously under David Moyes, they've made a lot of progress. In the past, they've been involved in a lot of relegation battles. Now they're, I think, just 1 point behind you. What do you think of the job that David Moyes is doing there? And have you seen them progressing season by season recently?
Yeah, I think he's doing a great job. They have good players, but you know the way they're playing and the consistency they've got to the levels they've got this season have been really impressive because I think he's a experienced, very, very good manager who's obviously got his message across to them, and they're playing really well. The organisation of their team, the style that they play in is difficult to play against. They had threats on the counter-attack. They're very good at set pieces, so they're just playing really well. They're clearly a well-managed team.
Does it mean more to you when you play against West Ham because of your history with the club and also your father's record of playing for West Ham?
If I'm honest, it did when I played. As a manager, my role now, it doesn't. Maybe I've mellowed or something's changed, but I also, you know, I focus on what's necessary for the club. Maybe I took it on me personally to really get up for that game against West Ham because I'd played for them before. But now I don't. I just see it as another game, particularly off the back of 2 defeats for us. It's an important game just for us to approach in the way of we want to get back on track where we were before these 2 games.
And just the final one from me, on Declan Rice, obviously you weren't in charge of the club, but how much of a regret is it that he left at Chelsea? And what have you made of the player that he's become for West Ham and also for England?
Well, he's a fantastic player for West Ham and England. So fair play, because his journey there of leaving Chelsea and going to West Ham, it's a good story to hear because there are lots of those stories for different reasons to whatever level, and that shows a strength of character. And in terms of from our end, I don't think we certainly wouldn't use the word regret. Our academy is one of the best in the world. You look at our first team now, what the players that we've produced are in and around the first team squad. We've got so many. And it's not easy. It's not an exact science to pick, choose or whatever players. But the academy work brilliantly here and bring through a lot of good players. Declan Rice has given himself personal credit for going and having the great start to his career that he's had at West Ham.
Let's come to Olivia at PLP.
Hi Frank.
Hi.
You've been playing Timo Werner on the left more recently. We saw at the start of the season you playing him through the middle. Is it a case of Giroud and Tammy playing really well and not having available wingers is why you're playing Werner on the left? And long term, do you think you'll be playing him more through the middle?
Different reasons on that one, because we obviously, when we have a big reference of a target man, I get asked a lot, why am I not playing Tammy or Ollie or Tammy, whatever way around it is, all the time. And Timo, for Leipzig and for Germany, has played as a number 9 on the side, slightly behind sometimes. So he's played all those roles everywhere he's been. So I don't think it's a problem for him to play there for us, and he could be used in various roles across that front three.
And also, just a quick question on Kai Havertz. He has struggled, especially after the whole COVID thing. What do you think? We've seen him play, he's very versatile. We've seen him play on the right, we've seen him play in a midfield 3. What do you think his best position is, and do you think 4-3-3 suits him?
Yeah, I do think it suits him. He can play, and before his COVID period, he was playing very well on the right side of the 8, in the 8 position for us, and I think he can play various positions. He said that, but of course consistency in a position is sometimes a good thing, and that's what I want to get for him. But I think the reaction around Kai is, when you look and you really analyse what's happened here, Kai came in without any form of pre-season, just started to really play well early in the season and gets COVID, and now comes back, and all eyes are on because of the price tag. But I think we must have huge perspective here. I've mentioned some of the greatest players the Premier League's seen have taken time to succeed in the Premier League. Some of them have been and gone away and come back to the Premier League and become great players, and we all know who those examples are. So I'm not saying it will take a long time for Kai, but we have to give him a bit of time to settle in on and off the pitch, and that's what's happening. I'm very happy with him. I've got no problem with him, but for Chelsea fans and for us, we must give him time.
And just one final question. On against Wolves, we saw Pulisic obviously play on the left, and he was causing Semedo some real problems whenever he did, and then he made that switch to the right. Is that something that you as a manager tell them to do, or is that up to the players to make that switch during the game if it's say not going well?
Yeah, that's my decision. It can happen sometimes in game for how the game pans out and players cross over, and in those terms they maybe stay in that position for a while until they can cross back. But those are my decisions, because I have players on the wings that can play on both sides. Not all of them. Hakim Ziyech clearly has been more of a player that plays on the right, but with Timo, he's played left and right of a front 3 in his previous teams. The same for Christian, played left and right for Dortmund and did the same for us last year. And sometimes you feel like it could give the opposition a problem. When Christian moved to the right against Wolves, he dribbled into their box, went on an amazing run, nearly created a few things. So I like to see to have the option to change them at times.
Let's finish this section with one from Nick.
Hi Frank, thanks for your time as always. Just wondering, after the busy summer, would you anticipate doing any business in the January window? We know it's a really difficult window anyway. And just on Timo, obviously 8 games without a goal, that's not a particular problem. I'm sure you think he's got the strength of mind not to worry about the numbers in that way. Obviously strikers always want good numbers for goal return, don't they? But it's all swings and roundabouts, isn't it, really? And I'm sure he would view it in the same way, would he?
Yeah, firstly, I don't know about January, and I'll consider January when it's here. So I've got the squad, and we're working hard at the games that are in front of us. With Timo, yeah, any goal scorer will want to score regularly. Simple answer. But must have the mental toughness and confidence to go through periods, because everyone will go through them. Absolutely every striker. There's not been a striker in the history of the world that can manage to score game in, game out through a long career. So there's no problem on that front. He needs to remain confident. He needs to keep getting in the areas, and those goals will come without a doubt.
Okay, that finishes the broadcast section. We'll now move to a Sundays, which